Hello and welcome to this podcast, the first section of Unit 2, the benefits of an active, healthy lifestyle. Sounds so exciting. To start, we're going to discuss the whole unit first of all, looking at the benefits of this for a sports massage therapist, because a lot of people feel that this unit is kind of crowbarred in, so we want you to understand why it's here and how it's going to help you. Charlotte, so first of all, what do you think are the benefits of this unit to a sports massage practitioner?
Okay, so surprisingly, I think there are actually quite a few things that make it relevant. The first of which is going to be a help in understanding the basic principles of exercise. Now, this is really important to clients who train a lot, particularly.
So you kind of mean understand their training plans and the goals they're trying to get from their exercise, really?
Yeah, absolutely, because that's going to help you to work your treatment better to facilitate their training and all their goals as well.
Cool.
The next thing I think is really important is spotting addiction to exercise. So people that potentially are going to have training issues, overtraining issues, which in themselves bring a high level of injury and dysfunction.
I think we've both got examples of these, haven't we? I know I've got a client who I spent years trying to convince that training 7 days a week wasn't the best move and to train 6 days a week to start with. And when she did finally cut back, it actually made quite a difference to her general health and her actual training as well. She was better training and suffered with less problems, less issues, stuff like that.
Yes, that's like a perfect example of overtraining issues and how actually rest is so important to recovery.
Oh, key.
I mean, the guy that I would sort of give as an example was, I still work with him today, to be fair. He's a really keen sort of sports person. He plays golf 5 days a week, Ashtanga yoga 4 days, 5 spin classes a week. And in terms of recovering from a shoulder injury, we had to then work out a much better plan. So I worked with him alongside that, and on the whole, we're much better. We have ups and downs in terms of injuries and training, but it definitely is really important. My understanding of his exercise routine made a big difference to me training and working with him.
Cool. Just thinking about all that exercise makes me feel tired. Wow.
So within that, it's really important, this module, because it will also help you understand differences between injuries and dysfunctions, but also things such as DOMS, so delayed onset muscle soreness. I can't even tell you what it's called, but that's really important.
Yeah, because it helps you to decide what's best for your treatment plan, doesn't it? So DOMS you can actually massage through and that's not a problem. But if they've got a very early acute stage injury, you don't want to be tackling that just yet. So
no, absolutely, which is really important. And that also then links to how a dysfunction can affect the training. So the differences between a dysfunction and something like DOMS, how it's going to affect training, and then also how you can work within that.
Dysfunctions are really misunderstood as well, aren't they? Because they quite often get confused by clients for injuries because everybody assumes everything is an injury. But also the client has to do a little bit more work with the dysfunction to try and sort it out, because it is fixable and reversible, isn't it, compared to injury, say, so much.
Yeah, but much more easily than a full-blown injury. And getting your clients buy-in and understanding that within their own activity and health is really important. The knowledge of the sort of an active, healthy lifestyle, again, it's going to help you to give you a benefit in making decisions as the best time to massage and what type of massage to deliver, which is going to change quite a lot.
And this is good if you've got a client that's competing. It doesn't matter if they're Olympic or if they're your fun runner. What you're going to deliver is going to be the same, but it means you're going to put their treatment plan in the right place for them.
Yeah, because their event is important to them. It doesn't matter what level it is, you're delivering for them the treatment to get them to that event. So it's really important. If you continue as well, exercise is going to be really useful as part of an ongoing functional and rehabilitative plan. So in order to make it effective, you're going to have to understand exercise, the principles of it, how much to give, how much not to give. As a level 3 practitioner, you're not actually allowed to prescribe exercise, but there are things that you can do and qualifications later on that you can go to.
Because we both added our PT qualifications, so we were able to deliver prescriptive exercise, yeah?
Yeah, both of us did that, didn't we? So yeah, no, it was really useful. The last thing that this module does, that although really basic, is it gives you an overview of nutrition. Now, nutrition is going to have a big impact on the injury repair process, which we'll discuss in level 3, or level 3 in unit 3, sorry, but also any poor training results.
Definitely. I mean, it is a really, really simplistic, but I'm shocked sometimes by the level of clients' knowledge when it comes to food and how limited it can be, and what they assume is a healthy lifestyle. They don't understand that fats are important in the diet, that sort of thing. So some knowledge from your point of view is quite useful.
Yeah, and it will also give you, if nothing else, an ability to identify a problem and then refer to an appropriate nutritionist or dietitian where required.
Because you do need to stay in your bounds of practice with this one.
But we'll discuss that when we look at nutrition in this module.
We will do. Okay, so that gives us some idea of what you'll get from these units by understanding the knowledge. So let's have a little look at the topic we are here for today, which is an active, healthy lifestyle. I can't even say it. So the World Health Organization wrote a statement in 1946 which defines an active, healthy lifestyle. The statement is a state of complete physical, mental and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease and infirmity, is what is considered a healthy, active lifestyle. So what does this statement actually mean?
So it's a pretty old statement, as Tamsin mentioned, but it is on the whole been adapted a little bit, but it still stands. Basically, what it's describing is total fitness. And we can break that down further into 5 key components. Now, these are mental and emotional, medical, nutritional, social, as well as physical fitness.
Okay, so that's pretty simple. Shall we take a slightly closer look at each one of these and see what they sort of look like?
Yeah, so we'll have a bit of a discussion, and then it's also up to you guys as well to make a link between and think about how they're going to impact on you. So the first one we're going to talk about is the mental and emotional fitness that I mentioned. Now, that's not just freedom from mental health disorders, but it's also a positive mental state. So having an ability to cope with everyday stresses. Can you cope with being late for work, the traffic jam, stuff like that? But also the exercise you're doing. It's also being productive and a belief in your own positive, own potential and self-value. So your own self-worth is really important to recognise.
And as you're aware, you can be the most positive person on the planet and you can still have a bad day, and that's fine and that's normal, isn't it? But it's when you start having those bad days repetitively and you can't actually get over them or cope with the simple little things that go wrong is when you've really got to think about the mental and emotional fitness of somebody.
Yes, that ability to cope, I think, is the key thing here to think about with this mental fitness. Now, typically, mental fitness is easier to achieve when you live an active, healthy lifestyle. So physical activity is scientifically proven to affect your mental state, improve it. Along with your food choices and your medical state, you're unlikely to come out positive in the morning if you're feeling rubbish. I mean, if I've got a headache, I know the last thing I can do is bounce out of bed.
Yeah. And that traffic jam, wow, never going to happen. But also, if your mental state isn't great, you're not going to make good food choices, are you? And then that leads to other issues. So
certainly does.
Okay, so that was mental and emotional fitness. Let's have a look at medical fitness. So this is being free from disease and illness. So what does this mean?
So in essence, it is just being well, not being poorly, but also it's going to link into exercising, watching what you eat, because they're all going to have an impact directly on your medical fitness.
Well, they are, because you talk about people that don't do any exercise and eat too much, and you start to get medical conditions like high blood pressure, diabetes, leading on to coronary heart disease and things like that. So by having an active, healthy lifestyle, you're going to avoid a lot of these, aren't you?
You certainly are, although genetics are proven to play a role. Certain people have difficulties in producing leptin, which controls your appetite. So that can be really, really important. So it will make a big difference. So do be aware that genetics is important because you can't actually influence that. That said, being fit and healthy can make all the difference.
True. So let's look at nutritional fitness next. So this is having sufficient calories and nutrients for the body to function normally.
Okay, so this is probably going to be quite a good area of debate as to what people consider healthy. But it's really important to remember this qualification is in sports massage. So all you're able to promote is the government general guidelines on healthy eating. And those are based around the Eat Well plate currently.
And that's regardless of whether you agree with it or not. But you must stick to the guidelines. And if you need to give your client further advice, or if your client needs further advice, should I say, you need to direct them towards a nutritionist or a dietitian.
So if you're not emotionally fit, it's typically going to affect your food choices. So this is how it's going to link to these other components of fitness. Having poor food choices can also affect both your emotional and your medical fitness. So that links back to what Tamsin was saying about your diabetes and other health associated conditions.
Okay, getting there. So the next one is social fitness. So this is often neglected, and it's the ability to interact with either groups of people or in a one-to-one situation in what would be considered an appropriate manner.
So it's also forming bonds with people, how you develop friendships, but also acquaintances, your interaction with other people.
And so you can be introvert or extrovert, but it's not whether you are one of those or not. It's whether you can actually talk to people. Even as an introvert, you can still communicate sufficiently with people, but extroverts obviously have lots of friends and know everyone and their grannies, but introverts don't. So it's not to do with that. It's actually to do with about dealing with a social situation.
So both are considered healthy, but it's the quality of the interaction that's going to be really important here. So your emotional and physical fitness are going to be involved in that. If you're not happy with perhaps your physical appearance, or you've got mental health conditions potentially, also emotional issues, you might find socialising with people actually quite difficult or even impossible. And that will have a really big impact on your ability to form good and positive, meaningful relationships. So that's your social fitness.
Finally, on to your physical fitness. So this is probably what everybody considers a physical, active, healthy lifestyle. So it's a combination of health and skill-related fitness. Charlotte, do you want to go a bit further with that one?
So we're going to cover them in a little bit more detail in section 3 of this unit. But in short, it's combinations of things like cardiovascular and muscular fitness, which is health-related category. But also then fitness and speed, balance, agility, which are all components of your skill-related fitness. So
again, if your mind's not in the right place or you have medical conditions, being physically fit is quite difficult. And obviously if you're making the wrong food choices and you're overweight, actually then doing something about it can be quite difficult as well.
So as we've talked through these, hopefully what's become apparent is that these 5 key components are all really well linked. So it's important when we're looking at a healthy, active lifestyle and fitness to consider all of them interlinked rather than just on as individual components.
Absolutely, definitely agree with that one. So that's a brief overview of the components of a total fitness. So what actually are the benefits of an active, healthy lifestyle? So these can be categorised as a physiological benefits, psychological and social, and these are in line with the WHO's definition of health. Charlotte, do you want to go a bit further with that one?
So we'll start by talking about the physical and physiological benefits. Now, typically these are the more obvious ones that you think about health and fitness. So potentially body composition. So you might think someone has different body fat to lean mass depending on their exercise. But that can also be improved muscle tone, which is going to help your body shape, but also posture. Don't forget posture. That's really important as a massage therapist.
Definitely. You're also going to have benefits such as increased metabolic rate, which will help to improve the use of nutrition within the body. You're going to have a decreased insulin resistance and reduced body fat as well, which is always a plus.
Next things that might be important might be increased flexibility and speed. So that's going to make us more agile, potentially more able to cope with the demands of daily life.
Then you're looking at things like enhanced cardiovascular efficiency. So that's going to make the general day-to-day tasks easier, even changing a bed, walking up a hill, that sort of thing, so much easier.
That can be combined then, of course, with better sleep. So we can all do with this. And that's going to help us deal with all the difficulties, life's troughs, so much better. Sleep is really, really important. It's part of the recovery process.
So you're also going to benefit from increased joint stability, stronger bones, improved skin and hair condition, and all these things are going to make you feel a lot more confident about yourself.
In addition, there's going to be a chance that you're going to feel less prone to injury or be less prone to injury by being stronger and in better condition within your body. That again could potentially make you more comfortable in later years, less aches and pains, more range of movement, and also potentially an absence or reduction of medical conditions, which could be really, really important.
Massively important. I've got a lot of elderly clients that have got a lot of medical conditions that are really slowing them down. And it's really noticeable when they've been active during their life and when they haven't. So it's quite a key thing, that one.
There's some really good research as well that does start to look at, especially with things like joint health, about by starting exercise earlier and having some of these components while we're looking at the physical benefits of if you exercise earlier, it will actually decrease the rate of decline. So decline is inevitable as you age, but in terms of joint health, certainly, and bone density, something that's really, really important because you can slow that rate of decline. That is clinically proven. So really, really important.
Useful information there. So let's move on and have a look at the psychological benefits. And they're just as important as the physical ones. And there is a direct link between the two that can be in a positive way as well as a negative way.
So psychological benefits might include improved self-esteem, self-confidence, which overall is going to lead to a greater self-reliance. So that's going to be an ability to deal with daily problems, stresses and issues. Could also be reduced anxiety and depression, but also a stronger immune system because hormone cortisol, which we looked at in Unit 1, is directly linked to stress, which is directly linked to health. So by looking at these psychological benefits, we're also going to have a whole host of other benefits.
Excellent. And finally, on to social benefits. So these are really not really thought about at all, but it can include improved self-esteem and confidence and better opportunities just to make friends, and that makes a whole world of difference to people. So it's going to allow you to have the confidence maybe to go out and try new activities, giving you the opportunity to meet people with similar interests, and your ability to push yourself outside your comfort zone, which is really, really important.
Certainly is. So we've got clients as well, so this might be something that you can recommend. Look at options for them locally. So might that be they get involved with a yoga or Pilates group, or even sort of a walking or running group. So depending on the level of activity, this might be something you can support them with if they mention an interest while you're treating.
So it's really good for you, as we've mentioned with practitioners, to have a list of good groups that are around in your area as well, so that you can talk to your client freely about these things.
That'd be a really good idea. Help because that way you can support your client in loads of different ways, not just through the actual massage itself. So it's really important to remember that not everyone's the same. So we've talked a lot about all the different benefits, but it's really important to not assume that a specific lifestyle is fit and healthy. Just because it's not the one that you might choose doesn't mean that it's not good for someone. You don't have to go to the gym 5 days a week to be a healthy individual.
You could have a client that spends 5 days a week walking, is in their garden, has a really nice healthy diet, does lots of bits and pieces, is very active, got lots of social engagements going on, and that makes them a happy, active, healthy person.
Meanwhile, you could have someone incidentally that goes to the gym and is fantastically healthy, but you also can have people that go to the gym, and a bit like we talked about earlier on with this exercise dependency, you can have people that are overtraining and therefore not healthy as a result. So look at the client as a whole individual, not just as a sort of a component of parts.
Yeah, definitely a holistic approach with that sort of thing.
Hopefully what we've been able to do today in this podcast is demonstrate to you the relevance of this module, but also outline for you the 5 key components of a healthy lifestyle in line with that WHO definition of health. Again, those categories are linked to the benefits, and that is really important. So 3 key categories of benefits that link to those 5 key components of a healthy lifestyle. All of these are interlinked, and any impact of change is likely to be multifaceted, both in terms of the components of health and their benefits.
Cool. Thank you for that summary there, Charlotte. So that brings us to the close of this podcast today. There's some questions for you to complete at the end, and this podcast will be available for you to revisit at any time. There's also additional even resources in the resource section.
Bye for now.